Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And this is our review for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Many generations after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike. So now we've seen the trailer for the film. We know that you guys have seen the trailer for the film. It looked extremely epic. And I was really excited to embark on the next chapter and the next journey for essentially the Apes franchise, knowing that eventually it's going to have to catch up to the film that started it all, The Planet of the Apes. And boy, was I blown away by just the visuals alone for this movie. And I remember sitting in the theaters watching the very first one many years ago, not the original, but the one with Andy Serkis and the Caesar's story. And I was thinking, wow, the visual effects, the story, everything is really so great. How will they beat this? And I just feel like this franchise just keeps getting better and better and better. But I feel like the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a whole new kind of epic.
Yeah, honestly, I was really worried about whether or not they were going to be able to kind of capture the same magic without Caesar. I was curious on how many years later this was going to take place, and I was wondering if they can kind of catch the same magic without having like Andy Serkis, who is such an amazing mocap actor, to be able to carry this franchise. But I have to admit, we were just both blown away by the shots, the cinematography, the special effects, the CGI. There was a lot of times when I had to be like, oh yeah, that's right, those aren't actually acting apes. Those are people in mocap suits giving us a performance that then have the CGI of an ape put onto them. And you just lose yourself. There's no moments where you ever kind of question it, or you're like, we saw it on IMAX, so if there were any flaws in the CGI, we would have seen it, because we also sat pretty close to where we were kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of exceeded my expectations, because this movie, I did not feel the 2.5 hour runtime on this. I could have sat down and explored this world for another 30 minutes or so. I loved how they developed the characters. I loved how they introduced new characters and introduced this new world to us, even though we kind of saw the beginning of it and then had like a big time jump with the new generation of apes. And they summed up what happened in the first one very quickly. They're like, okay, this is what happened. Here's a little snippet. We're moving on.
I feel like exactly that. They used time really, really well in this movie. And, 2.5 hours can be hefty, but they filled it to the point where you didn't feel the weight or the length of it at all. Every moment was interesting. I do like that they gave you a quick summary of like sort of a little bit previously on, but not so heavy where you're kind of like, okay, exposition dump. It wasn't anything like that. I think one of my concerns for this is, not really knowing any of the characters going in, because, this is many generations after Caesar's reign. So I was thinking, okay, how are we going to connect to these characters? And what I was pleasantly surprised by is how quickly I was hooked, and I was already sold on these, especially Noah, the I guess I would say our main ape for the story, how quickly I was hooked into his story right away. Like the connection I had watching him on screen and the struggles that he had, on his own journey, and sort of what he faces later on, the big challenges. I was in, and I was a fan of Noah immediately right away. And I think Westfall did a really great job, and the actors obviously as well did a really great job of building up their supporting characters as well. And oftentimes you focus a lot on the main characters because they're the ones that's driving the story, but these side characters doing their job is making it interesting, but also making you care about them. There wasn't a moment ever where I was like, ugh, what a throwaway character. Everybody mattered, whether it's ape or human.
Mm-hmm. They really did have all the side characters have a purpose and have a meaning, even though, yes, this is very much Noah's story, Noah's adventure, and Noah's journey, it really had just some really cool characters. Even though there was one character that did not stay around as much as I wanted them to, I really enjoyed their presence, and I loved just how they utilized this one character, and the fact that they were brave enough to be able to be like, okay, this character has served its purpose and now let's move on. I think that was very strong in just building this world and having these characters that you care about, and just despite the fact that the movie is very epic and very dramatic, they still had a good sprinkling in of comedic moments, of fun moments with these characters, to where you wanted just to hang with them for for a little bit while longer.
Yeah, and I want to talk about May. She is our main human. She's our main human in the movie, and she brings a whole nother level of what they're doing on their journey. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but she is really, really important to not just moving the story on, but the challenge that it'll present for both humans and apes alike. And I really find that her relationship with Noah is really interesting, because it's not like an all-in, like, I trust you, you trust me, we're gonna work together. It's still very much a little bit of that, well, I gotta look out for the apes. Right, I understand that, but I gotta look out for myself and the humans. And I understand that too. So I really like that push and pull, where you can't get mad and point the finger and be like, oh, villain. And I like that, how the movie presented that. And I love the third act, where we kind of get into a little bit more into sort of the bigger, more epic, nail-biting scenes, because there are a lot of those. I think they see this in the trailer, Proxima. We'll just say that. Those scenes are really cool, and I like that there's like nods to the Charlton Heston Planet of the Apes stuff. There's definitely nods back to Caesar's reign and the messaging there, and again the sweeping landscape. And then just as an aside, we know that Wes Ball is the director who is I don't know if it's confirmed or in talks, but I want to say confirmed for the Legend of Zelda. I was thinking
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
War of the Planet of the Apes. It all has "the" in it.
Legend of Zelda films, and I was thinking, okay, I've liked his work in the past. Obviously, Planet of the Apes, sweeping landscape, great visual, a lot of special effects, a lot of CGI. So if he can pull this off, I think he's going to be able to handle Zelda with no question. There were a couple of particular scenes. If you know Legend of Zelda, and you'll catch it, it's because it's within like the first 10 minutes of the film. There's something that he does with a character physically, and I kind of went, I can see the parallel with Legend of Zelda. There's more than just one. So like, I'm just kind of thinking very far ahead, and I'm actually very excited that he's going to be the director for Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, and the fact that he was also able to handle such an epic story, and I think that just bodes well for what he can possibly bring to the Legend of Zelda franchise.
And so with that said, we're going to go ahead and give you guys our final rating for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. If you're curious about the movie couple rating scale, it's listed for you below the video in the description. So you said it earlier, we got to see it on the IMAX screen. We got to go to the IMAX headquarters and watch it there, which is like one of my favorite theaters, very far from us, but it is so worth the drive because it's really epic. I think this is the type of movie that you do want to experience in IMAX if you have that available to you. If not, perhaps Adobe or an AMC Prime, because you want the sound and you want the best picture possible. It's a fantastic story. It moves along great. These characters are so easy to connect to and to love. I went in just a little apprehensive because I like the Caesar stuff so much.
Yeah.
I was like, are they going to get me to love this next chapter? And obviously I was going to watch it because I wanted to see how it progressed, but I am so blown away by it. I love these characters. I love the story, and this is a catch it opening night.
For me, I feel very much the same way. It was such an amazing story, great characters, great dialogue, great development, great pacing, and also it looks beautiful. You definitely want to see this on an IMAX, on a Prime, on a really good screen with great sound. I enjoyed this. I'm going to give it a catch it opening night.
And there you have it. That is our thoughts. Non-spoiler. Hopefully we didn't spill anything for you. For Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Give us a rating if you're listening to us on Spotify. And we will see you in the next one.